Welcome to TELO Talks, where we bring you inside our network of amazing people. Luminaries we rely on every day to inform us on technology, automotive history, engineering best practices, and more. All so we can build an epic company and deliver an amazing truck to you.
Ennie, thank you for joining us.
Of course.
So who are you?
So I'm Ennie, as you already know. We've worked together over the past year to make this thing happen. I'm super excited for you. Congratulations again. I'm a project manager at Arya Group. Kind of been leading this program on Arya's end.
You're our project manager. What's your background? What's your educational background? Give me how long you've been at Arya. Give me that story.
Yeah. So I guess like you actually, I'm a mechanical engineering major, UCSD. I graduated since a while ago, and during college I ended up building a lot of software products, and that led me to a early career in product management, leading software solutions of various capacities, building for large Fortune 500 companies as well as like startup size and like consumers. But curiosity and like building physical products brought me back here. So I've been in Arya Group for about 2 years, excited about building physical things that you can see and touch and see move.
And how did you go from software to building cars? Like kind of a big jump. What happened there?
Yeah, I mean, so you would think anybody who does mechanical engineering, you have to have some type of interest in making things move. And so I think I've always kind of had a natural curiosity, but I also had a couple friends who had worked on projects at similar companies, and one who was here actually, and he would give me whispers of these amazing things that they had going on behind the closed doors that you can't find anywhere, because most of the things that we do are under NDA. And so just kind of hearing about them, I was like, okay, let's just see what this is about. And then you get in and you're kind of stuck just with all the fun you're having. So
That was it. And that was how long ago?
that was about 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Is our project your first project, second project, 10th project? What was it?
It's on the order of 10. Here they very much kind of let you spread your wings a little. I'm currently working on I think 3 or 4 active programs, but this is currently the largest one. So yeah.
So how did you get either assigned? How did you choose? What was the come together for this one?
Yeah, so I think our typical process is just based on our production schedule. We phase in and phase out. We try to have our schedules for the years planned out way ahead of time. And so we kind of know when a PM is going to be offloading off a recent project and ready to hop on a new one. But occasionally there'll be things that individual PMs are excited about, like this one. And so we can kind of wrestle a little for who wants to work on it and what you have to let go to be able to do it.
So you had a bit of a boxing match for this one.
Just a tiny bit.
I'm glad you won out.
Yeah.
So that you got brought onto the program, if I remember correctly, 7 months ago, 8 months ago.
Yeah, right about.
It's been all fun and games the whole time, right? Tell us about some of the things that make our project unique.
I think in general, I've gotten to work on really exciting stuff here, but it's always really cool to see a company that's genuinely trying to do something different, right? I think I'm always excited to work with startups just because, you can kind of get behind a mission, the story that they're telling, and the energy of the group can get a little bit of infectious, right? As we've seen like these past few weeks, these last few nights. And it's just exciting, like sometimes in projects you get through phases where you don't necessarily know exactly like where things are headed, but you just kind of need to keep going anyway. It's easier to do that when you have a group of people who are kind of behind this very clear mission, and it's just easy to kind of get me up during the day and get going behind that.
We were talking early on, and we said, hey, we're going to build our battery pack, the structural chassis of the vehicle dynamics, effectively the skateboard platform. Mm-hmm. And you guys are going to build all the body panels, all the A-side, B-side panels, all the interior of the vehicle. And we said, we're going to do it all ourselves, and we're going to deliver it by this date. And we showed up, and we dropped the vehicle off. And you said something akin to, okay, these guys aren't bullshitting us. But tell us about how that kind of played out.
Yeah. I mean, so typically, right, like in a program like this, we're going to have quite a lot of collaboration to do, certain things that you're going to expect us to have done and certain things that we expect you to do. And one of those key moments, like a key milestone in this project, was the chassis delivery, right? Everything we're building on, all the panels, this chassis delivery, right? So all the panels we're building on are going to be built on that platform. And so it's incredibly important that everything is dialed in. I think typically we're used to seeing a little bit more variation from data. And so I think, up to that point, we have a couple missed timelines, missed deadlines here and there. But when that chassis came in at the right time.
On time, I will say.
At the right time, it was dialed in. And I think we had, like 4 mil at the max displacement from like data. And so I'm like, okay.
And that was only on the bumper beams, which were adjustable.
Jason will let you know. Yeah, absolutely. But it was definitely a moment where I could say, okay, we're working with a team that's serious. They're fun, but they're also serious. They can dial it in, and we can trust them.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we had a great working relationship. Tell us a little bit about the structure of the team that was actually working on this project. I know they were distributed, and there was a vast amount of expertise amongst them. Give us a little insight into that.
Okay, so on Arya's end, right? So I'm the project manager, so I'm kind of playing, that point guard role of getting the right stakeholders in whenever they need to come in. But at the same time, there's a large group of people working adjacent to me, right? So we have the fabrication guys who you're going to be seeing a lot of, and you've seen a lot of them these last couple of days. But before then, we're really starting this program with engineering, right? Dustin, who you worked closely with, was the lead engineer in this program, and he spent a lot of nights just kind of making sure that these ideas behind putting together these panels were not just going to last you these shows, but you're going to be able to go a couple years with these prototype versions of this vehicle, which is something that Arya really prides itself in. Under Dustin is a large engineering team. You met a couple of names. Outside of that, we have our machine shop team who is responsible for making all the tools that you're going to need to be able to make this. Arya has advanced manufacturing methods, some of which is proprietary. Others, we can talk about, but, in this program, a lot of what we did was composite based. And so the team making that happen is a really vast team led by Mikey and his guys. And then we have a really strong surfacing and paint team as well, as you can see by the wonderful exterior finish you can see here. And so we have a little bit of everyone here. So
yeah, and I have to give a couple of shout outs to this team. So Dustin's a beast. Man, can that guy develop and build stuff and do it quickly. The whole front hinges. Yeah, that was all Dustin, just cranked through it, and I think a night just got it all done.
I don't know if it was one night, but
it was incredible. And we're really, really impressed with that. And even my team, my beast of an engineer, we talk about all the time, Graham. Yeah, he was like, "Oh man, Dustin's a beast." So he's definitely a beast.
Absolutely.
And we had one really interesting thing I really appreciated was when we started, you had your CTO, your chief of engineers, all on the call together with us, reviewing our data, not just your data, like our data, to make sure what we're doing would make sense for the processes and make sure our vehicles would be safe. I remember one time you guys saw how we were doing our front chassis, and you were like, "Is that going to work?" And then we actually went back and forth, and oh, you're right, we should do larger flanges there to distribute the force better. So it was really great that you were even giving us feedback for parts of our vehicle we were doing. Yeah. And that's a partnership I don't think we even expected to have out of the gates. So I was really appreciative. And I will say that your surfacing team did an excellent job. We actually came down. Actually, why don't you talk about that? The process of when was TELO at Aria? What were we doing when we came?
Got it. So a few times, right? In the beginning of the program, we do a kickoff where we like to have the whole teams in person. That's where we were able to do those early reviews with the engineering, just do some validation on our end, make sure that whatever direction you're going with is something we're buying off on, because we really do like to see everything as a complete team effort. Following that, I would say the next key moment that you came in, other than like chassis delivery, was really that surfacing and highlight review. So this is a stage we get to kind of after pre-fitting. We've put all the panels together, and throughout this, we're sending you photos. You're coming in, dropping by here and there, taking a look at the panels that we've made, validating that this is to data, right? But surfacing and highlight review is really that next big stage where our clients will often come in and really validate what we have done.
Talk us through that, because that was a really cool experience. I don't know if a lot of people are familiar with the automotive design process, but when you build a surface, a beautiful, they call it Class A automotive surface, you use certain software tools to be able to visually represent the curves and the contours and where the light reflects off them. And we walk into Arya, and you've got it in real life. Yeah. How is that possible?
We have a team of magicians led by Israel, right? And so this is one of my, I'm still amazed at what they're able to do. This is a group of guys, really. You have this vehicle, you have this thing made, panels put together, And all those shapes and contours that we're talking about that are in data, people physically have to go in there and surface those lines and get those gaps dialed in. They have to come in there and make sure those gaps, I mean, we're talking about things that are 3 millimeters versus 4 millimeters. And, you know, for the most part, in your review team, like, you know, you have a couple of notes here and there, but we're really dialing things into data. So it's quite an amazing thing that they're able to get done. And so we typically will have our clients come in. We have these highlight lights, you know, going through the vehicle, and we spray the vehicle with this, so you're able to kind of see the way the lines are going. And, you know, people are really precise about how they want things done. Dale spent a lot of time working on this, and so he's going to want all his gaps dialed in, all his highlights curving and going up and down exactly at the points that he intended. And there are only a few teams, I think, in the world who are able to do it as good as Arya is.
Yeah, I remember you guys saying before we'd actually hired Dale, Dale is our world-class surfacer that we have for our vehicle. He's on many vehicles you'd recognize today you can't even speak about.
Yeah.
But I remember that before we'd hired Dale, we were saying, hey, we've got these models, you know. Okay, you said, okay, are they Class A surfaces? And we said, well, no, but they're good enough, right? And you go, no. They're absolutely not good enough. They're not good enough because what will happen is when you go to do the surface review, you'll see these changes, these step functions and contours that'll act like wavy lines, they'll break. You'll see them in the highlight reel. And what we'll have to do is, in order to actually fix that, we'll have to add Bondo and chase them out the entire length of the vehicle. So this is just such a long, drawn-out process if you don't have perfect surfaces from the beginning. So part of the big reason we hired Dale was to get us perfect surfaces. And part of the reason we worked with Aria was so that we could get those actually to be represented in real life.
Absolutely.
So that was incredible. So the last topic I want to talk about is the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And so we came here on last Monday, and this is a Thursday today. What was the situation? Like, where did we arrive with? What did you guys have? Where were we at?
Great. So 2 weeks ago, we had essentially all the body panels complete, and we're ready to put this thing together. However, there's a lot of electrical components that need to kind of work together, right? For this particular program, the scope on the electrical end was mostly owned by your team. There's some things here and there that Arya needed to do to be able to set you up for success. And so 2 weeks ago was the point of really, let's integrate both these items, right? And so
What did we come with?
you came with a ton of stuff, right? So you're coming with the battery, right? That's what Jason wants me to say. But it was in amazing shape, dialed in, right? Everything had been bench tested. On our end, we had our LEDs and all the wiring and the pigtails set up for them to nicely integrate and plug into. Now, in the perfect world...
I think you're giving us too much credit. Let's be clear here. We came in with a skateboard chassis that we had just gotten driving 6 hours before.
Yeah.
And we said, we're ready to do the swap over. And you said, well, this is going to be a long night, isn't it? So many long nights. In fact, you were here last night with us.
At what time?
I think you were here till 12:30, if I remember correctly.
I think it was 1:30, but you know, an hour doesn't make a difference.
Who knows? We were there till 3:30.
Yeah.
But you were there for the first driving of this vehicle.
Yeah.
Which was last night. We actually we took it conservative, 20% power.
Yeah.
It's now up at 40% power. But it was incredible what we've done in just a week and a half with access to came in with a skeleton of a vehicle and a body of a vehicle. And somehow in 10 days they became one, and we have what we see behind us.
Absolutely.
That was incredible. So we've got much more work to do with you over the next months and hopefully years.
Yeah.
What are you most excited about moving forward into the future with us?
Honestly, like, one thing we haven't talked about is like just being a consumer myself. I'm excited about the future of this project, right? I'm personally invested in the future of this project. When I think about the Monster Tunnel and things like that, I'm someone who's active. I spend a lot of time in San Diego. And so, you know, parking is something I've had to deal with a lot. I would love to own a truck, but who wants to deal with being able to park these things if you're living in a metropolitan city? I go surfing, I go snowboarding. Where am I putting these things? When I'm changing my boots, I want to be able to just step on this Monster Tunnel. So I'm super excited about just the intentionality behind the design and the engineering that has been done in this program. Some of it, you know, feedback from me going in there, sliding in there. I'm going to one day be able to say I'm responsible for that decision. So I'm really excited about that. But other than that, you know, I'm really excited to wake up one day and just see these driving by me without, you know, having any links to who did that. And it's like, yeah, I worked on the early versions of those.
Yeah.
That's something that truly excites me.
Wonderful. We're super excited for that too. And thank you for everything you've done for us over the last 9 months. And I'm excited for the next 9 months, the next 9 years.
Exactly. Awesome.
Thank you.
Of course.